Well, thank you again for coming. We want to take this opportunity to update the people of the province as to where we find ourselves today. I'm happy to report that the situation continues to improve almost on an hourly basis. And I've asked Ed and Earl to join me here today so they can give you the most current news on the situation, most current state of electricity generation and transmission and effect on customers here in the province. I want to begin by saying thank you again to the people of the province. When we came the very first day to a news conference here, we asked the people of the province to conserve. The response to that has been absolutely wonderful, and it has made a significant difference in terms of demand and how we've been able to respond and manage the situation. You know, it's a situation where everybody has something to contribute, and when we put that call out to the people of the province, you know, people in their homeowners as well as our commercial customers, the response has been significant, and I want to say thank you to them because it has really helped. You know, it remains a difficult and challenging situation for particular people in the province, and we're very sympathetic about the circumstances in which they find themselves, and we're trying to move forward in a responsible way to deal with the situation. In light of that, we have decided to keep our schools closed at least for another 24 hours. We're beginning a process now of starting to warm up our buildings to prepare the school buildings for our children to go back into. We want to be prudent in doing that, and the Minister will speak to that shortly in a little bit more detail. I also want to urge the people of the province to continue to be vigilant around using sources of power and light that we don't use every day in our lives. We've had a number of unfortunate incidents in the province of fatality. People have been injured, property has been damaged, and it just underscores again the need to be absolutely vigilant when it comes to your own personal safety. I want again to thank Newfoundland Labrador Hydro under Nalcor and Newfoundland Power, municipalities in the province, fire and emergency services. This really has been a collective effort. It has been so reassuring to me as Premier to see how well we all work together. You know, we talk to each other on a regular time. We go through mock exercises. We do lots of planning exercises. But when we have a circumstance that is real and we need to test everything we've planned for, it's been wonderful to see how well everything has worked and the response. So thank you so much, you know, particularly to the workers on the front line who've had to go out and do this work in very uncomfortable circumstances, challenging circumstances. It has been, you know, who've done yeoman service. Working 16 hours a day under very difficult circumstances to get us back to as normal a situation as we would all want. So things have, you know, things continue to improve. We still need to be vigilant. We still need to conserve. You know, it should be something that we're mindful of every day, whether we're having a circumstance like this or not. It just underscores that good stewardship principle that we all need to be embracing about conserving energy. But it becomes particularly important in a circumstance like we find ourselves now. So I want to encourage people to continue to conserve, particularly through the next week or so. It's going to be extremely important. But not to forget it after that point of other. You know, some of the practices that we've started to incorporate into our activities of daily living now as a result of this circumstance perhaps our practices that we should continue just because it's the right thing to do. So I'm going to ask Ed to update us where we are, to be followed by Earl. Then the Minister will speak particularly to schools, and then we'll be happy to take your questions.
Well, thank you, Premier. The first thing I'd like to acknowledge is regret to the people who have been impacted by these outages. I've heard so many stories over the last few days from many, many places that it's been very difficult in many, many situations, lots of hardship. Want to let folks know we understand that, we recognize it, and every minute that we're working, we have that in the back of our minds, and we are working every minute. So regret for the hardships that this has caused, and we're on it. We're on it 24 hours a day. As far as an update, we've had a break in the weather, as people know, and that's been very helpful, first off from an electrical load perspective. But probably more importantly, it's given us some pause, and we took some time last night as the weather broke to say, look, we've had some good progress. We've run up the unit at Holyrood, and it's working well. We're in the switchyard still at Holyrood, looking at some of the issues there. But last night I took the opportunity to send people home, actually, to get some sleep before we actually finalized the switchyard investigation. And it's been very helpful. People come back totally refreshed. We have a break in the weather. So right now we're systematically reviewing the last pieces of the switchyard situation. And I'll be getting a report on that later this afternoon. And depending on the outcome of that report, if it's favorable, we'll run the unit up and, attempt the reconnection. And if we need a little more work, we'll take it. But at this point, we're making progress, and things are positive. I still need the switchyard information, and we have fresh teams on the ground and fresh experts, and we're working through that. With respect to the second focus is the hardwoods gas turbine, and that has been running. It is running now. We call it running it up, but what you do, you start it and you take it up in stages to make sure that it's testing out properly. We're in the process of doing that right now. As to the moment I came in here, there was nothing negative about that, but once again, I have to, express some caution because we will take our time again. We run these things up. If we hit an alarm or something that we're not sure of, we'll bring it back down, take a look at it, and bring it back up again. That's where we are right now. Once we bring those units back, we will be in a very good, reliable place, and I'll be informing people on that as soon as possible. And the third thing I'd like to just mention to folks, there's been lots of dialogue, over the past few days, but the system is reliable. And I'd just like to remind people that we have had a situation with a series of events have come together. We've had some unplanned repairs, extreme weather, and actually had a fire in a transformer. And that's a series of events which we generally don't see, and I think I just wanted to let folks know that that's a different situation. When we return the units to operation, these are situations that we rarely see.
Okay, thank you, Premier. I'm going to start with, I guess, good news. My last update was about a half an hour ago, and we had roughly 50 customers off, and 20 of those would be in a cabin area. Now, at that point, I'm going to back up a little bit and give you a little bit of synopsis of how we fared over the last 24 hours and how we are looking forward. As you know, we had a major weather system come through again last night that was centered on Stephenville Corner Brook, but moved a little further north and is now sweeping through Gander, Grand Falls, north, Bonavista North areas. The system behaved very well overnight. Of those 50 customers, there's only 30 customers. Now, albeit 30 is still a lot if you're one of the 30, is what came down as a result. So that's the situation coming off it. We do not have any customers right now that are curtailed or off due to load curtailment or generation availability. So that's the first point. In anticipation of this yesterday, and again, we're in mode, we're back to normal operations with respect to crew availability, mobility. We sent crews back to the West Coast in anticipation of storm. We have off-island people on deck. We have 3 crews from Nova Scotia. We did have 3 crews en route, got canceled last night due to weather out of Halifax. They were on a schedule to be on site here at 1:40 today. So we're still bringing them. That's out of Maritime Electric, sister utility. So that's that situation, which is good news. So conservation. I ended one of the discussions I had before with 3 words. It was conserve, conserve, conserve. The message is still conserve, conserve, conserve. I want to leave, and it's not an alarmist thing at all. We're into a situation right now, as Ed said, we're stable. At least everything we can see, we're stable. We have a little bit of slack in the system right now. But I will say that we've got cold temperatures coming tonight, tomorrow, and into the weekend. And this warm weather, warm weather again, as I said, is relative. You know, there's no negative in front of the temperature. So please, I reach out again. The efforts worked. The reason we've been able to get through is because of the response of Newfoundlanders, businesses, governments, you name municipalities. The response has been incredible. So now that must continue. Premier mentioned and spoke very clearly on the topic of safety. You know, it's one that at these times it's all hustle bustle, get it done, get it done. Can't be. We work in an industry, we have people that are very, very professional in their business. We have to monitor, keep them shifting. Our customers, you know, again, cooking, propane, carbon monoxide, all those issues, generators, be careful, please be careful. There's not a whole lot I'm going to say on that, but that's where I'd leave it. I will end on the area of thank yous. I'm going to caveat, because I'm always cautious when I issue a thank you, but I will say at this point in time, we're still not out of the woods, but I offer my sincere thanks to anybody that's touched this situation. And I'm talking about every one of our 651 employees at Newfoundland Power. I don't care whether it's from my office to anyone else. Call takers, line personnel, maintenance, generation, what have you. Municipalities, incredible response. They're all over. Newfoundland Labrador Hydro, there's been a continuous, ongoing, hourly to and fro discussion. Where are we? How are we responding? And dealing with Ed's office, and then more so at the operational level, this has been a team effort. Provincial government, that goes Department of Work Services, Transportation, plowing snow ahead so we can get our fuels in, to Fire and Emergency Services, and the list just goes on. There's always a danger listing, but I'm going to mention those. And again, the Premier's office has been very helpful in coordinating and helping us through this. So on that note, I'm going to say, I'm going to sign off from my comments for now, and I'll address anything further as we go along.
Thank you, Premier.
Into the mic, Minister, if you don't mind.
Not a problem. Since our last update, we've been in discussions with the school board on a regular basis, in particular the CEO, Mr. Darren Pike, with the power utilities and you know, through the Premier's office in coordinating our efforts. And we've come to the decision that, you know, all of a sudden we're going to bring 240 schools back into the system. So we will do that systematically as we speak now. The school board officials are in contact with custodians who will go in, and slowly we will raise the heat and reboot and fire up equipment that needs to get fired up in the school. We want the students to return to, I suppose the best way to put it is the buildings that they left. So that will give us the time, and the school board the time, to see if there are problems that will arise. Also, it will see what the impact will be to the power utilities. So we have decided that we will close the schools again tomorrow. That includes Memorial and College North Atlantic. And then, you know, we'll see what tomorrow brings, and then we'll move from there.